Hello friends, welcome to Interactive Audiobook. Today we are going to explore something extremely fascinating about human behavior. Have you ever experienced a moment when someone looked at you and said, "Everything is fine," but something inside you felt that it is not fine? The words were calm, but the voice was heavy. The face was smiling, but the eyes looked tired. The body language was telling a completely different story. This is what psychologists call the invisible language. It is the language that exists behind words. Most people never notice it. They listen only to sentences. But a trained mind listens to behavior. Today we are going to learn how to read that invisible language. This is not magic. This is not mind reading. This is psychology. This is the art of thinking like a psychologist. And when you learn to think like a psychologist, something powerful happens. You begin to understand the hidden why behind people's actions. So prepare yourself. Today we will dive into the fascinating world of human behavior. The world where every gesture, every pause, every reaction tells a story. And remember, you are listening to Interactive Audiobook, where ideas help upgrade your mind. Now, let us begin our journey with the first module called the Core Philosophy. Every powerful skill begins with a simple foundation. And the foundation of thinking like a psychologist is a very powerful idea called working backwards. What does that mean? It means when you see someone's behavior, you don't treat it as the final answer. You treat it as a clue. It is only the starting point. You then travel backwards to understand what created that behavior. For example, imagine someone suddenly becomes angry. Most people simply say that person is an angry person, but a psychologist asks a deeper question. What created the anger? Was it frustration? Was it fear? Was it hurt? Was it insecurity? Anger is rarely the real emotion. It is usually a mask hiding something deeper. And this is where the second principle appears: observation without judgment. In everyday life, we judge people very quickly. We say, this person is rude. This person is friendly. This person is confident. This person is weak. But thinking like a psychologist means removing labels and collecting pure data. It means observing carefully without jumping to conclusions. Let us imagine a small scenario. You are sitting in a coffee shop. On the table in front of you, two people are having a conversation. One person is talking continuously. They are moving their hands a lot. They look energetic. The second person is quiet. They mostly listen and only nod their head occasionally. A normal mind may immediately say the first person is dominating and the second person is passive. But a psychologist does something different. A psychologist collects data. Subject: a high-energy, expressive, engaged. Subject: B. Low energy, quiet, observant. Then the mind begins to work backwards. Maybe subject A is passionate. Maybe subject A is nervous. Maybe subject A simply loves talking. Maybe subject B is bored. Maybe subject B is a deep listener. Maybe subject B is tired. A psychologist does not rush toward one conclusion. The goal is to gather clues, notice patterns, and stay curious. This curiosity is the heart of psychological thinking. Now that we understand the philosophy, let us enter the practical workshop. This is Module 2, Practical Application and Case Studies. Here we will learn how these ideas work in real life. One of the most powerful tools discussed by behavioral experts is the ability to read body language. Words can lie, but the body often reveals the truth. But there is an important rule. Body language must always be read using context clusters. Clusters means the situation. Clusters means multiple signals together. One gesture alone, also clusters means multiple signals together. One gesture alone never tells the full story. Let us explore our first case study called the job interview. Imagine you are a hiring manager interviewing two candidates. Candidate A. A man enters the room. He sits straight. He maintains friendly eye contact. he leans slightly forward while answering questions. These signals together create a positive cluster: confidence, engagement, openness. Now, candidate B. Priya enters the room. She sits on the edge of the chair. She adjusts her hair frequently. Her voice sounds slightly nervous. An untrained mind might immediately conclude that Priya lacks confidence. But a psychologist works backwards. Priya might be nervous, not because she is weak, but because the opportunity matters deeply to her. The stakes feel high to her. And sometimes, when something is important, people naturally feel pressure. When you analyze behavior in context, you gain deeper insight. Now, let us move to another powerful psychological tool: the art of indirect questions. If you want to truly understand someone, direct questions often fail. But indirect questions invite stories, and stories reveal personality values and priorities. Let us look at another case study called the 7 Stories exercise. Imagine you want to understand a new team member named Rohan. Instead of asking, "What are your strengths?" you ask a different question. Can you share some of your proudest moments in life? Rohan begins telling stories. First, he says the first time he bought a gift for his parents with his own salary. Second, he completed a college project under an impossible deadline. Third, he finished a marathon. Fourth, he rescued a stray dog. Fifth, he overcame his fear of public speaking. Sixth, he helped his younger sister apply for college. Seventh, he taught himself a new programming language without any teacher. Now, look carefully at the patterns hidden in these stories: family responsibility, persistence, compassion, self-improvement. Without directly asking, you now understand Rohan's values. This is the power of indirect exploration. Now that we understand the basics, let us go deeper into advanced psychological insight. This is Module 3, Advanced Techniques. In this part, we explore a concept that silently shapes many of our relationships. It is called attachment styles. Attachment theory suggests that our childhood emotional experiences create a blueprint for how we connect with people in adulthood. Broadly, psychologists describe 4 main attachment styles. The first is secure attachment. These individuals feel comfortable with closeness. They communicate openly and handle conflict calmly. The second is anxious attachment. These individuals often fear abandonment. They seek reassurance frequently and worry about relationships. The third is dismissive avoidant attachment. These individuals value independence strongly and sometimes avoid emotional closeness. The fourth is fearful avoidant attachment. These individuals want connection but also fear being hurt, so they feel conflicted. Let us understand this through a simple workplace example. Imagine you and your colleague Neha made a mistake in a project. If Neha has a secure style, she might say, "Okay, we made a mistake, let us find a solution." If Neha has an anxious style, she might apologize repeatedly and worry that everyone is upset with her. If Neha has a dismissive avoidant style, she may minimize the discussion and say, "It is not a big deal. I will handle it quietly." If you understand attachment styles, you stop taking reactions personally. You understand that behavior is often a pattern learned over many years. Now, every masterclass raises questions in the listener's mind. So let us move to our next section, Module 4, Student Questions and Answers. The first common question people ask is, what if I misunderstand people? How do I avoid overthinking and judging incorrectly? The answer lies in 2 principles: context and clusters, and curiosity over conclusion. Never judge behavior using a single signal. Always look at the full picture, and treat your analysis not as a final truth, but as a hypothesis. Your role is not to be a judge. Your role is to be a detective. Stay curious rather than certain. The second question people often ask is, if I use these techniques, will others feel manipulated? The answer depends on your intention. Are you trying to control people or trying to understand them? Real psychological thinking is not mechanical analysis. It is genuine empathy. When people sense that you truly want to understand them, They feel respected rather than manipulated. The final question is, how can we develop self-awareness in practical ways? Self-awareness is like a muscle. It becomes stronger through practice. One powerful method is journaling. Every night, spend just 5 minutes writing about your day. Write what you felt, how you reacted, and what triggered your emotions. When you write, patterns begin to appear. The second method is mindful pausing. When you feel a strong emotion, pause for 10 seconds before reacting. Ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling right now, and why? This small pause interrupts automatic reactions and creates conscious awareness. And now we arrive at the final part of our journey, the conclusion and your personal homework. Knowledge without practice has very little power, so here is a simple exercise for the next 7 days. Start an observation journal. Every day choose one interaction from your day and write 3 things. First, what did you observe? Body language, tone of voice, choice of words. Second, what was your interpretation? What do you think might be happening beneath the surface? Third, what questions remain unanswered? What more would you like to understand? This exercise is not about being correct. It is about training your observation muscle. The more you practice, the sharper your awareness becomes. And remember something important. Every human being is like a book. At first, you only see the cover. But the real story appears only when you slowly turn the pages. When you begin thinking like a psychologist, the world becomes more meaningful. You stop reacting blindly. You start understanding deeply. And suddenly conversations, emotions, and relationships reveal hidden layers. So, next time someone says everything is fine, do not only listen to the words. Observe the pauses. Observe the eyes. Observe the silence. Because sometimes the most honest language in the world is the one that is never spoken. And this is the true power of psychological thinking. Thank you for listening. You were listening to Interactive Audiobook, where ideas help transform the way we understand life.